I just wanted to make this video just to kind of share the story or the journey of me and the love of my life, Eleny Lachey Davis, and I just wanted to just tell the guys out there with that special someone in your life, like, let her know how beautiful she is each and every day. Tell her how much you love her, tell her how much you care about her, because it's important. And make sure that you do the little things, because it's very important and it's gonna go a long way, man. I have this saying that I've been saying probably since I was in college, man. I remember the little things so I can do big things for the heart. And with Eleny, I realized, that goes a long way. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna take you inside the story or the life of Tony and Eleny. So I'm gonna tell you how we met, and I'm gonna give you like the top 5 moments or the top 5 events or highlights Tony and Eleny era. So basically, just to kind of jump to how me and Eleny first met. Long story short, I met a guy who would become her brother-in-law. I pretty much asked if his fiance at the time had any siblings. He said that she had a twin sister. So I'm like, oh snap, cool. She gotta have a good head on the shoulder. She gotta be in the church, because that's what your fiance do. Y'all in the church and everything like that. So I'm like, cool, man. Hey, bro, introduce me. Let me know. He like, okay, cool, and he kind of giggled. And I'm like, no, bro, seriously, like, introduce me. When she in town, hit your boy up, so I can, so I can introduce myself. And he was like, all right, he, and I'm like, nah, bro, but all right, it is what it is. So anyway, I had, I never knew when she was in town or whatever, but this happened on September 21st, Arkansas State was playing at the University of Memphis, and that's the university that Eleny was attending. And so in my mind, I'm like, her sister lives in Memphis, she goes to Arkansas State, this may just be a game she attends. So, I go to the barber shop just in case to be fresh, just in case she's there to make, my first move. And I get that haircut. Most definitely get that haircut, so I'm ready. But as I'm riding from the barber shop, I'm thinking about the first time I saw her. And the first time I saw her was like that same day after I ended up talking to Artez. I went to his Facebook page to then go to his fiance's Facebook page to find Eleny's Facebook page. And so when I saw her, I'm like, wow. I'm like, she's absolutely gorgeous. Like, she's beautiful. And I'm like, if she's not stuck up, she's the one. Like, I remember calling my big bro Mike, big bro Darrell, my little sis Brittany, my mom, my dad, text my sister, call my mentor, my big bro Anthony Williams in Kansas City, and was like, I found my wife, long as she ain't stuck up. So I get to the game, I don't see her or her sister, so, I'm like, all right, it's cool, it's the beginning of the game, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Halftime comes, stood on Sims, so I go to Artez, I'm like, man, they still coming? Like, yeah, they supposed to be coming. So I'm like, all right, so I go sit down in my seat. Next thing I know, I see them come up, and I'm like, I get excited. I'm like, wow, there she go. I'm like, she look even better in person. Like, her Facebook default pic was not lying. Like, she's gorgeous. So I'm nervous, palms getting a little sweaty. But I saw one of my DAs kind of sitting in the general, vicinity of where, her and her sister were sitting. So I kind of went up there to talk to him in hopes to start a conversation with her. So her sister Ebony reached out and was like, hey, Tony, how you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm good, how you doing? And she's like, hey, this is my sister Eleny, blase, blase. And so I'm like, hey, how you doing? So I had a whole bunch of small talk, and I'm asking her questions that I already knew. Like, I asked her, what school she was going to, asked her what she was taking up in grad school, and I told her a little bit about myself, and I kept it short and sweet because I didn't want to mess up. So I kind of was like, it was a pleasure meeting you. Hopefully, we can meet again, talk again sometime. And I kind of left it at that. Come to find out, Artez and Ebony's wedding is like 3 weeks later, October 12th. So in my mind, I'm like, twin sisters, married. She has to be at the wedding. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the wedding, of course, to support my boy in his marriage, but also see if I can talk to Eleny again. So October 12th comes, I go to the wedding. I already had my fit picked out from like that day. I called Brittany and was like, look, I'm gonna have my cardigan game going on, be smooth, like I'm ready. Like I didn't touch that outfit for like 2.5, 3 weeks, like because it was set for that day. So the wedding came, went, got to the reception. That's boom. That's where I'm gonna make my move, at the reception. Just so happened, every time I got the guts, to talk to her, uncle would come up, auntie would come up, a friend from college would come up, just some random person just come up, and I'm like, man, you killing me. So the reception just, it's just passing by, and time just leaving. And so then I'm like, I'm missing out on my opportunity. She had to leave out one time, and I got scared. I'm like, man, she ain't coming back. I ain't gonna see her again. But she came back, so I'm like, whew, all right, don't play with fire. Next time you see her, make a move. This what happened now. Ebony and Artez, they about to leave, about to see him go off, and I'm like, man, I missed my opportunity, like, because I know she look like the type of woman, like, if you don't go get her, like, you ain't gonna get her. So we see him off, and she's coming back in, so I'm timing it, and I see her, so I'm like, hey, Eleny, how you doing? Good to see you again. She's like, hey, Tony, how you doing? Good to see you too, and this is this. So we started talking, and she was like, man, my feet hurt so bad. I've been in these hills, I've been running around all day. Can we sit down? I'm like, yeah, we can sit down. So we sit down, start talking. Then her baby sister, Alicia, comes up. Alicia, that's my dog. She come up. It looked like she was aggravating Eleny. So Eleny kind of got her to go away. And so I continued the conversation. But I was like, man, I'm going to have this conversation go good for about 5 minutes. I'm going to get out, leave, so I can win. So we do all of that, talk about midterms, talk about different things. And I'm like, hey, take my number down so we can talk later sometime, whenever you want to talk or whatever. So she's like, man, my phone is in the makeup room. I don't have it on me, so take my number. So I'm like, rats. Did not want to get your number because now it's up to me to make the first contact. So I don't know if I'm communicating with you, if you really want to communicate with me. But I take her number, and so I get back, I'm excited. So I text everybody, I'm like, y'all, I got the digits. Like, we right on schedule. So I just text her just so she'll have my number. I'm like, hey, this is Tony. Just so you got my number. Not really expecting her to text back right then or at all. Just kind of be like, okay, thanks. But Eleny texts back and was like, hey, so what you got going for the rest of the day? Just so happened, I'm on the phone with big bro Mike. And so I'm telling them, like, we texting and everything. I'm like, man, midterm, and I'm just kind of, chill, watch the rest of the college football games today. And so she's like, okay, I may head back to Jonesboro and everything like that when everything wind down. So I'm like, cool. So I'm telling Mike the conversation. He's like, man, she's giving you the opportunity to take her out on a date. He was like, ask her on a date. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I just met her. I don't know if she's that into me. He's like, bro, trust me, just do it. And so thank God for big bro Mike for telling me that, because I learned that is exactly what she wanted. And so I'm like, where should I take her? I'm like, man, you know what? I think all women have to love seafood. So I'm like, I'm going to go to a seafood restaurant. I'm like, but I'm not going to take her to Red Lobster. And I don't want to take her to no super cheap place, but I got to find somewhere in the middle. So I'm texting my coworkers, like, where's a good seafood place I can take somebody that's not too cheap, not too expensive. And so my coworker Jennifer, she was like, take her to Half Shell. So I'm like, cool. So I tell her we're going to meet at Half Shell or whatever. But she give me like the time, like 4 o'clock. I'm thinking like 7, 8 o'clock. She was like 4 o'clock, and that's like 45 minutes from the time now. And I'm like, dang. So we get to Half Shell at 4 o'clock. When I tell you, it's the best date ever in my life. We spent 6 hours at Half Shell. We was there from 4 o'clock to like 10-ish. And so we just kind of decided like it was time to go. We was talking about everything. You could tell we didn't want to leave each other's presence. We were sharing a lot of different things. And, really the foundation of our relationship was built in those 6 hours, but the things that we shared, like it was like awkward moments to where people were trying to find stuff to talk about, so we didn't have to leave. So I like ice cream and milkshake. So I offered, I'm like, hey man, you want to go to Sonic, get your milkshake? And she was like, yeah, I like that. And so I was like, I gotta get some gas first. And she was like, is it okay if I ride with you? So I'm like, yeah, I'll pick you up from your sister's house, cool. So I go get the gas. For y'all that's in Memphis or out in the University of Memphis, you know, man, the train stopped me on the way back, so I had to text her like, hey, I'll be there when I get around the train. So I'm nervous, like, man, if I don't get there, she gonna be gone. And so I get there, she's still there. So she hop in the car with me, so I take her to this park that I saw. So we sit in the parking lot. We just talked for more and more hours on hours, and it was like none of the conversation was ever boring. Like, it was never boring. And so then we like fell asleep. And I remember waking up and I'm like, man, it's late. So I'm like, I need to go ahead and get her back. So I get her back to her sister's house, so she can get back to her car. And I remember leaving, and I'm like, man, I want to keep a good impression. I don't want to, seem like that guy. So I'm not going for no kiss or anything like that. But I was like, man, can't go wrong with the forehead kiss. So I gave her a kiss on the forehead, and honestly, the rest is history. Like, that night, October 12th, like, it really set the tone for our relationship, and I'm so grateful that my big bro Mike Hannibal, told me to go on that day, invited her on that date, and I'm even more grateful that Eleny went on that date with me, and I can honestly say from that day forward, my life was never the same. It was never the same. And she definitely changed me for the better. Now that you know the story between how Tony and Eleny met, I just want to kind of tell you, or like give you like the highlights. Like, it's 5 of the highlights that we've had in our relationship. And I think one of the most important ones is just the day that we became an official couple. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was November 7th, to be exact. But I remember driving to Jonesboro on November 6th. She was getting out of class, and I surprised her. And she was so happy to see me. We've been talking about 3 weeks, and we was talking. I mean, when I say talking, we was talking. And so, I did all these different special things for her and everything like that or whatever. And I knew I was going to ask her to be my girlfriend. But I was going to wait till the clock struck 12, so it would be on November 7th. So we could have the entire day to say, we were dating, not, in the middle of the day where you didn't get the full 24 hours, right? So like at 12:01, like from that point on, it was like our anniversary, like straight 24 hours. So I think that's really one of the most important days in our relationship, like, and one of the highlights of our relationship, because it really, although it started when we first met on September 1st and then the first date on October 12th, like, we became official on November 7th, 2013, and I really think that's really important. I would definitely say now, number 4 is probably like our Applebee's nights. For y'all that know, man, Applebee's had them half-off appetizers, and me and Eleny, she's working full time and I'm in school and I'm working, and like we just had these nights to where I don't feel like he don't know how pockets, or I ain't got nothing in the fridge, or she don't feel like cooking anything, or I don't feel like going over there, she don't feel like coming over here. So we were like, man, you want to go to Applebee's half off after 9? And so like we just kicked it at Applebee's. Like we had like 3 different Applebee's in rotation, like 2 on her side of town, then one closer to me. And in those Applebee's settings, we really got a chance to really like talk to each other and have good conversations, because we wasn't busy with work, we wasn't busy with school. We really got a chance to communicate our feelings with one another, and we really enjoyed those nights. So that's definitely, Applebee's has to be one of the highlights on our list. 3, I would say, would probably be that weekend we had to travel to Virginia. I had a speaking engagement in Ashland, Virginia, so we hopped up early one morning, and we drove down on Friday like 5:30. It was like a 12-hour trip. Ended up being 15. She didn't help me at all going there. I remember, man, a tractor trailer had flipped over in Nashville, and we would sit there for like 45 minutes, like nothing. Then we got into that Virginia traffic, and it took us 15 hours. We had so much fun. I remember she was studying for her comps, and she was reading me different questions, and I was learning a lot of stuff about counseling and everything like that. And we was able to talk. I mean, she went to sleep. She was asleep a lot of the trip, but we still was able to bond and everything like that. She was there to support me and see me speak in person for the first time, and it was really a special moment for us in our relationship. And I really appreciated it, and I think that trip brought us closer. And it's those moments like that, fellas, that I'm telling you, like, cherish the moments that you think that your girlfriend won't remember are the moments, that your girlfriend probably will remember more than any other moments you think are the most important to her. So moving on to like number 2, I would definitely have to say number 2 was her graduation/birthday getaway trip to Kansas City. So she graduated on May 17th, but her birthday was May 22nd. So Eleny, she just like a spontaneous person. She just loved like doing stuff out the blue. She like, let's drive to Nashville. Let's just go do this. Let's do that. And I'm like, man, the way my job's set up, I really can't do that. So like I had sold her this story and just was like, I ain't way to get off. We'll just have a little staycation here in Memphis, celebrate your birthday, blase, blase. I drive to Jonesboro or whatever. But in the meantime, I've been hooking all this up. I got with my mentor, Anthony Williams. He hooked me up with a hotel in Kansas City. I made reservations for us to go do some painting and go to a nice restaurant. We was going to ice skate for the first time and all different things. So I set it up for, we went out to eat at graduation, and I kind of gave it to her as a gift. And I basically had invited her to Kansas City for a getaway birthday graduation celebration. So she had until like 6 o'clock, 6:30 or whatever to just pack her bags and leave. So she really loved it. And in those 3-4 days we were in Kansas City, once again we just had a chance to really get away from everything. It wasn't like no cell phone, no technology, but I was away from work. I was out of Memphis. She was away from work. She was out of Memphis, and it was just us. We was able to just share a moment. We went shopping, and we shared a special time with each other. And like to see the look on her face, and like just the genuine, gratefulness and gratitude that she had for it. Like that did it for me before we even left the trip. Like just to see that smile and to see her kind of, blush a little bit when she saw it, and like couldn't believe that we were actually about to just hop in the car and go. Like that's the type of stuff when it comes to Eleny that like makes it easy to love her and like really tugs at my heartstrings. Like I know it's corny, but like that's what it is about her. I mean, even in Kansas City, we even shared like our first little dish of creme brulee. Like that's a nice little dessert. Like it's smooth. It's smooth for real. And like I would definitely say our trip to Kansas City is like our number 2, highlight in our relationship. And lastly, number 1 in my eyes is really like our 1-year anniversary this year. Like we kind of was like, hey, we not gonna do nothing big. We ain't got no money. And we kind of agreed like, you can do one thing, I do one thing, but really couldn't be no gifts. So Friday night was my night, Saturday night was hers, and we made a weekend of it, So Friday night we really got dressed, looking all good and everything like that. And I had made reservations at Flight Restaurant downtown, and we tasted like some of the best food we ever tasted that night at Flight. Like it was so elegant, the ambiance was like perfect. Like they had valeted the car and everything was smooth. We really enjoyed each other's time. Like I remember we both tasted the best steak in our life. Like it was like elk. Like I don't know what kind of meat it is, but like that steak, that elk steak, like it was the best. I remember tasting bison and like some like Brazil, and she had like some lamb chops, and I think she even had some filet mignon. It was just a great night. And then like on Saturday we went to a play together, and right after the play she treated me to Texas Day Brazil, and like, oh man, like those 2 days, like the quality of meat that we had in those 2 days from flight and Texas Day Brazil was like off the chains. Like now granted, we probably clogged a lot of arteries and stuff like that or whatever, but it was well worth it because we were spending all that quality time with one another. And I mean, I honestly can't imagine spending any of those moments with anybody else, because Eleny, she's perfect for me. I'm not here to say that, she completes me or whatever the case may be, but she definitely compliments me and she challenges me. And, she's a woman after God's own heart, and, she believes in keeping Christ first. And I remember that's one of the first things she told me. We started this relationship. She said, I want our relationship to be Christ-centered, and I want us, to be able to be an example for other couples. And, when a woman tell you that, it's like, hey, brother, you better hop on the train or you're going to get left. And, like, just, her love for Christ and, her willingness to challenge me is really two of the main reasons why I love her so much. Like, I just like being in her presence. I feel like she makes me better with that. Like I miss her when I'm with her almost, for real, because she does that. Like, she just has that effect on me, and I'm just so happy to be able to call her my girlfriend. And it's like, one more thing, like, I'd be so remiss if I didn't even speak on this about Eleny. Like her being beautiful, gorgeous, like, those are understatements, but like, Eleny's mind is so beautiful. Like, the way she thinks about certain situations, like just her overall temperament and demeanor is so elegant. Like, she's so sophisticated, and like, she's really the total package. Like, for her to be so beautiful, her to have, so much education, her to have like just her overall personality, just like the way she loves, like, it's just amazing. And like, I'm living a dream right now, because Eleny is truly like she's a girl, like, she's a lady, she's a woman like a dude like dreams about. And like, I'm living that reality. Like, I'll even take it back a little bit further, like, and just really be real. Like, she's like the lady, or like the woman that, like, a son's mother dreams for him to have. And like, I'm not saying that to, get no brownie points or anything. I'm just really taking this time to express myself, because this is really how I feel. And it's so many more emotions that like I have, but I can't even like think about them right now, because just like, I'm so overwhelmed with like just how awesome she is. Like, on the scale of 1 to 10, she's like a 100. Like, real talk. Like, it's nothing that she can't do. Like, even like her imperfections, like the fact that she hates not being perfect, is so beautiful to me, because she strives for excellence in everything that she does. And like, I really love that girl, for real. So I'm telling you again, fellas, like, cherish the woman that you with. Cherish the woman that you're with now, and buy into the woman that she's going to become, because ultimately she's going to help you become a better man, like I guarantee it. Especially if she's the right one for you. So, trust me, just cherish that woman that you with. Because you're going to be sad when you let her walk out your life and you realize what you lost and what you had. I'm telling you, fellas, like, don't be that dude. Don't be that sad dude. Like, don't be that guy that's too cool to express your emotions and your feelings. Like, fellas, when that time comes when you lose that battle with your heart and your mind to a woman, like, you will know, fellas. Like, I'm just trying to tell you, like, don't be sad and miserable when you let that woman walk out your life. So if you had that woman in your life, let her know it. I let her know it now. Like, stop the tape, stop this video, go tell her right now how much you love her. Like, real talk. Cause you don't want to lose her, bro, because it's going to be a pit so big in your stomach and you will never get over it. Especially knowing that she's going to be making somebody else happy the way that she used to make you happy because of all the value that she brings to your life. Because she loves you the way she loves you. She accepts you for you being you. I'm just saying, fellas, like, cherish that woman. And fellas, I just really want to, like I said, tell you guys, man, make sure you cherish the moments. Cherish the lady in your life, because she is truly a gift from God. And you know, and ladies, they love so strong, and you don't want to take the love that they have for you for granted. And so I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope when Eleny, when she watches this, you know, she's smiling all over herself, and you know, she kind of sees and understands how important that she really is to me, because she really is important to me, and I love her with all my heart. So Eleny, as I end this presentation, this video, whatever you want to call it, I just want to tell you that I love you, baby, and I hope you enjoy my rendition of Tony and Eleny's story.